So thank you guys for letting me pitch today. My name is Jonesy Harp, and I'm here to introduce you to the Neuron Highway. This is an app that's the speedway to recovery. Now, we all know that our lives can change in a heartbeat, as we've experienced for the last couple of months. But when someone in your family is diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury or a glioblastoma tumor, as my mother was, it changes everything. I did not know how to take care of her, and there weren't the resources even today that we have. So I really put myself to the task as an older student going back to school at UCLA to learn all I could from the David Geffen School of Medicine, and then to bring my own background as a musician to the task. And this is what we came up with under the hood. First of all, this is our prototype. We have a minimally viable product ready to go. You'll see it has big buttons, big icons, and that's for people who have motor or emotional or cognitive deficits. This app is comprehensive. It is patient-focused and completely customizable. You go at your own pace. There's no, because each patient really has different issues. So what we did, though, is trade on science. As you can see to the right there is one of our little gifts. We are using novel stimulation to train your mind and your eyes to the device itself. Most everyone is using it on their cell phone. And then what happens if you're on the side of the hospital that doesn't have bright sunlight? You might not get the same care, right? Because there's a lot of research done. Even if you're on the sunny side, it can change your recovery. So we want to take you from that dark place of not having all the resources necessary for a full recovery. And we're doing that with gifts, with sound. You can hear the birds singing. And our special sauce, our secret sauce, is medutainment. And that is where we're putting medical information into an entertaining and really high-tech way. Now, I'm a cowboy scientist in real life, but in real life, I also play a scientist on TV. Here I am on Space Force. But my knowledge of multi-million-dollar sets and how they function and the technology that's used in Hollywood every day, I can bring that to medical information. Now, mostly when we see medical information on WebMD, it's just some person in a white coat talking to you, and it's not necessarily about your condition. You have to kind of hunt and peck. This allows that information to be directly sent to you. What's our next steps? We have our product, we have our website, we're ready to roll it out. I've been working on this for quite some time, and I'm really looking now for the right investor. I've funded this completely by myself up to this point, and we see this as a $300,000 investment. We're looking for people who are passionate about making healthcare available to everyone, irrespective of their financial or their geographical location. Step 2 starts in just weeks from now with our own clinical trial. I did all the paperwork for UCLA's clinical trial on the cognitive part of the app. So we're going to be following the same protocols as a normal clinical trial. We've already identified a group with more than 100 people, and we'll be able to support with data our efficacy rate. And we're checking everything from your mood every time you use the app. We know how long you're engaging with the app. So right off the bat, we are collecting a lot of data about the patient. And step 3 is we want to roll it out to the general public for Christmas, offering something special this year in a year that's really tough for a lot of people. We see the need there. Our revenue model, we start with $1 a day for consumers. We have 2 higher price points, but we really want to make this so even if your insurance doesn't cover it. We think most people will use it for about a year, even though you have 24 months of plasticity with a major traumatic brain injury or rehabilitation. As we've heard from several of the other competitors, the brain surgery is over 500,000 people a year. Traumatic brain injuries are 11% of all traumatic injuries. So that's a small part. We are only trying to grab 0.001% of the market. But because we're doing vignettes about people's care, we can really film and create content to cover every one of these. You can see 70% of that is orthopedic. That's really easy to do vignettes. So we're able to really address a much bigger the market segment, in addition to helping people with traumatic brain injuries and with surgeries. Pretty much any rehab over 4 weeks, I think our app would be ideal for. 411,000 people go to the ER daily. out of that, 78% of them are discharged. Okay, maybe you don't have a brain tumor. Maybe you just took a slip and you twisted your ankle. Good news, you don't need a cast, but you need crutches. You're going to spend 188 minutes. That's the average time in an ER. What if we could push you a video on how to use those crutches, how to go up and down stairs, how to get in a car? It limits liability for the institution. And I think that could be a really great way. And I really believe that Neuron Highway could become the leading provider of discharge notes and help. We are basing our first year off 1,000 subscribers. That's a really low number, but you can see it shows a profit of 74,000. What do we need? 286,000. I know we asked for 300. I want to have a little variance. It's these things on the right-hand side. We need to film more. We need a really a crew. Right now, I've built the app, but we need technical assistance so when it breaks down, we can fix it fast. So we hope that you'll join us here at the Neuron Highway in providing a whole new way, a patient-centered way of looking at rehabilitation using state-of-the-art technology, music and film, the arts, to change how you get better.
Thank you, Jonesy, for a great presentation. There's a question in the chat box that's asking, how are you addressing privacy issues from the user end and the back end? This is a current issue with all the COVID-19 app popping up.
You have to log into the app. So it's, even though all three segments are using the app, it's all password protected. What we're working on the app right now is where you won't even put in a password. It will be touch on a vehicle. So we can continue that fun gamification of the highway.
What is your member acquisition model?
Our member acquisition models, we think that that people will be attracted to it. We want to roll it out to the end users. We're not going through doctors to sell this. We're not looking to go through insurance companies. We're really looking to work with brain injury groups and families to push this out. And also we're going to go with a completely different way of publicizing it using end users, directly connecting with them. And I really believe that our market share could be huge, especially if we go after doing the licensing of all the content for ERs.
Can you provide information on what clinical endpoints are being monitored for the clinical trial?
Yes, we are using the same clinical cognitive trials that UCLA uses. They, until we start working on this app, they would give these points of measurement with cognition with flashcards. So we're using the same set of questions that they're using. We're only doing them in a way that we can show the electronic results and push those results in real time.
Shuman Sharma asks, can you provide information? Oh, sorry, I apologize. That was from Shuman Sharma. Victor Levin asks, if you're giving advice and or direction to parents, patients, pardon me, what is your liability?
Well, first of all, anyone who would use the app, it is at your own usage. We are not making any claims, but what we can show is that we are checking mood with every exercise. So we're able to provide a way that we can actually say, this is helping with depression. This is helping your cognition. As far as we expect all of our patients to sign a waiver that says you're using this at your own risk.
Are there any other questions for Jonesy? Actually, Jonesy, I think you should mention some of your experience with the clinical trials from UCLA. Oh,
when we first, the whole idea was conceived at UCLA. That's where my mother's surgery was. And as soon as this is in 2009, there weren't apps then. And my original idea was to use DVDs. And I did my senior thesis on this, talking about stimulating the senses. UCLA was not interested in a physical or the emotional app because at the hospital where they were using it, they really wanted to test just the cognitive part. But all that paperwork, I had to do all the paperwork that you do as a researcher, even though I have a BA in communications. So it was a big stretch for me to kind of make that leap, but we did it. We received a $25,000 grant from NIH for that to happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I raised the other 25 grand for the prototype on my own.
Very good. Yahweh, I believe how you pronounce this person's name. He says, what's your initial marketing budget?
Our initial marketing, the 300,000, we have it earmarked for, and our business plan does this in full detail, the breakout, but we have about $35,000 for marketing. I'm all about the shoestring as somebody who comes from a background of not a lot of money. We've learned you can do a lot with very little funds if you use the media, and we do some guerrilla marketing. So we're kind of going in a completely different way than normally happens with medical devices.
Thank you, Jonesy. Jonesy, there's another question here from Soti Koef. Jonesy, one of my investors helps companies launch, expand using time equity, bringing ideas to life without the need to raise venture capital. If you're interested, I can make the introduction. He loves tech companies.
Well, we're interested. Yeah, and thank you. And we're interested in anyone who's passionate. It's to us, the money will come. I'm still, I haven't even started really raising money with my Hollywood friends, because we wanted to have the product ready and we wanted to have our business plan together. We wanted to get all our boots ready to go before we hit the ground running. And I think we're there, and I'm certainly interested in speaking to anyone who really is passionate about changing how we help people get better.
And, Jonesy, you do have a minimal viable product already that you've created yourself. So to give you some credit, it's not just an idea.
Yeah, but I did it on set. While we're sitting, waiting, and holding, I learned to code. So now I'm okay at JavaScript. I'm not as fast as I want to be. And I really want to do more things with the app, including using a shoe sensor. Because a lot of people who, after surgery and after a brain injury, have trouble walking, and a lot of it has to do with their gait. So that's something we're working on right now with using Raspberry Pi. Excellent.
Sodi also mentions, my brother and I are also making movies. I'll reach out to Rosemary with contact information.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. And thanks for your interest. I really appreciate it.